Andy and Margie, meanwhile, are making their way to Woodford in Greater Manchester.
I've got a surprise for you.
Really?
I hear you like planes, aeroplanes, things that fly.
I do. How did you know? When I was growing up, I would have loved to have been a pilot. I just love planes.
All right, so we're going to go and look at some old planes.
Antique planes?
Antique planes.
Oh my goodness, thank you.
Yeah.
Forward driver.
Margie's taking Andy on a trip to the Avro Heritage Museum, which is situated on the site of the old Woodford airfield.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Are you excited?
You're too kind to me, Margie. Come on out, you get love.
It wasn't mine.
Shut the door. Right, let's pretend that never happened. Here we go.
A very excitable Andy and Margie have come to learn all about Sir Elliot Verdon Roe. A leading pioneer in the aviation industry, Elliot was not only the first Englishman to fly an all-British aeroplane, but his company was responsible for some of this country's most iconic planes, including the Lancaster, World War II's most famous and successful RAF bomber. Andy and Margie are meeting Chairman Terry Barnes to find out more.
So the Lancaster bomber behind you was built specifically because World War II was brewing? Absolutely.
There were over 7,000 of them made in total in the country, of which 4,000 were made here at Woodford and flew from Woodford. An iconic aircraft, without which I doubt the war effort would have been successful. And of course, next year we've got the 75th anniversary of the Dam Busters raid, where the Lancaster was a key element.
So the Lancaster was hugely important during wartime, but what became of it, well, in peaceful times?
Well, it was turned into a passenger-carrying aircraft, and it was also re-engineered to become the Avro York, which in itself was quite a famous plane because it took Charles de Gaulle, it took Lord Mountbatten, and even Churchill to various post-war meetings, which they had all over Europe in that time, of course. And we have Churchill's chair here today, which was used in the York in a meeting he went with Roosevelt and Stalin.
Oh, wow, is that it?
It is.
Can I?
Go on, then.
Oh, just imagine Winston Churchill sat in this chair.
Yeah.
Never, never, never give up.
That's true.
It's obvious, though, isn't it, that Avro had a huge contribution to British aviation?
They absolutely did. Not just British aviation, world aviation. And they have many, many inventions and firsts. One of them being the first enclosed cockpit in an aircraft, the first bomb rack, and then the first retractable undercarriage. All leaders in their day.
What's your favourite achievement or your favourite thing?
I think the most iconic aircraft, and all 136 were made here, and that is the Vulcan bomber.
And by any chance, do you have one here?
We just happen to have one for you.
Let's go! Is it actually this way? I keep saying let's go, I don't even know which way. Terry, this is phenomenal. I mean, not only is it vast, it's kind of reminiscent of Concorde in so many ways. Yeah. Would that be the D-shaped wing?
Absolutely.
So why was this built?
Right, this was built as a carrier for the nuclear deterrent during the Cold War. The government sent out contracts. They needed a bomber to be able to deliver our nuclear deterrent bomb. And so the Vulcan was born.
But obviously, it never actually delivered that payload, did it?
No, indeed it didn't. I mean, the first Vulcans flew in 1950 and were just reaching retirement at the end of the 1970s. But then came the Falklands War, and so the Vulcans were used in the Falklands War to deliver conventional weapons, non-nuclear weapons, and bombed Stanley Airport at the very early part of the war.
Can we go inside?
You can't go in this one. Ooh. But we have got one you can go in.
Oh, where?
Inside the museum.
Let's go, what are we hanging around for?
And he wasn't lying when he said he likes planes. He's clearly potty about them.
Growing up, I always wanted to be a pilot. This is sadly the closest I'll get to it. Oh, a plane in a museum. I mean, it's worn well. It's quite a tight squeeze. There's all sorts of... Oh, no. Look at... Oh. It's like a early day iPad.
How are you finding it?
I like it. If you could take your seat and fasten your seatbelt, I'd be grateful.
Goodness me, look at the technology.
Margie, doors to automatic, please, and cross-check.
Where Where am I going now?
We're going to the Maldives. Margie,
Yeah?
can I have some warm nuts, please?
It's hot in here, Terry, isn't it? Shall we go? Come on, let's go. Andy, are you coming?
You're all right. I've got to park on stand 5 and then pick up passengers.
Oh
for the
dear,
week.
he's living the dream here. He's living the dream.
Leading pioneers in aviation, Avro produced planes crucial in both times of war and peace. And it all started with the dream of one man, Sir Elliot Verdon Roe.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board Andy Peters Airways. It's our pleasure to have you on board. If you find any nice antiques, do let me know and I'll take them off your hands.
Anthea and Charles, meanwhile, have made their way to Romilly, where they're on a buying mission at Romilly Antiques and Jewellery.
Oh, there you go.